Okay, now I'm going to do a video that's going to answer three of the most important questions I've ever been asked. As of late, it was all asked to me in Beckley, and nobody really caught on to them. Now, this was when I was standing in front of the soup kitchen. I was talking to a bunch of people, and no one actually asked these questions. They asked me all the stuff about the case, but they didn't ask me these three little important questions. These three little important questions, which Beckley's a cult master, and if you know what I'm talking about, then you know. Three little questions that he asked me. Number one, who am I to stand up and do all this? Number two, why? Number three, what makes me think they're going to treat me any different than anyone else? Well, I'm going to answer those. Number one, who am I to do all this stuff? I am Ron Collins. That's it. I'm not going to sit here and go into, I was in the Army, I'm a ninja, whatever. The fact of the matter is, I'm me. If you don't like me, too bad, I don't really care. If you do like me, cool. Now, here's where things get interesting. See, who am I to be doing all this? Well, I'm the guy who's fighting for his life. It's not that no one else can do this, because anyone else can do what I'm doing. It's not that, well, put it this way, the only reason it falls down to me is because I'm the only one who stood up to do it. I don't have any kind of special, there's no secret recipe, no any of this stuff to making me who I am. I just happen to be the one guy who's dumb enough to believe that I can do anything I want if I stick my mind to it. Now, let me show you something. I actually sued my old landlord and represented myself in court. I beat him in court. And among one of the lawyers which I beat in court by that was hired by this man was none other than Michael Frobel, one of my former court-appointed attorneys. This gets really interesting because can you imagine being an attorney who actually loses to your former client? Especially when it's a client that is all the time arguing with you about you not doing your job right. And then all the time it's coming off with, well, I'm the one who went to college. I'm the one who passed the bar. I'm the one who read a book. That's me. I didn't go to college. I didn't pass the bar. I didn't do an internship just to read a fucking book. I read the fucking book. And then I went to college and I didn't go to college. I went to court. Right. I didn't go to college. I went to court. And then I just said the same shit I read out of the book. See, here's a book that I bought from the public library for like 50 cents. It's called The Criminal Elite. It all deals with white-collar crime, and among them in here is dirty cops, dirty judges, and stuff. Very interesting book. Picked it up 50 cents. Oh, here's another one. It's called In Search for Justice by Robert L. Shapiro. Got this another public library book sale. Now, I have a buddy of mine in Wyoming County who actually, when I was going through all this and found out that I got kicked out of the Raleigh County Public Library, told me he had some books that they were getting rid of, or that actually that the state had gotten rid of, and that he himself was supposed to get rid of, but he kept copies of them, and he didn't want to get rid of them for nothing, so he sold them to me real cheap. There was like 20-some books altogether, so it cost me close to $200. And the books I got are West Virginia code books. That's right. Same thing you can find at the public library. You can pick them up and read them yourself. Oh, and let me show you something. This is something that is like completely awesome. In these code books, not only do you have the codes themselves, but they also have a list of court cases from the West Virginia Supreme Court, such as power usurped, abused, or exceeded, prohibition of lies where power is usurped, abused, or exceeded, in all cases of usurpation and abuse of power when the inferior court has no jurisdiction of the subject matter in controversy or having such jurisdiction exceeds its legitimate powers, prohibition now lies as a matter of right and not as a matter of sound judicial discretion. Norfolk versus W. Rye, it's R-Y, versus Pinnacle Coal Company, 1868. Yep, Supreme Court case. West Virginia Supreme Court case, as a matter of fact. Prohibition lies as a matter of right in all cases of usurpation and abuse of power when the inferior court has not jurisdiction of the subject matter in controversy or having such jurisdiction exceeds its legitimate powers. Johnson versus Hunter. Hey, same thing was mentioned in Town of Hawks Nest versus County Court. State X-Rail Noyce versus Blankenship. West Virginia Secondary School Activities Commission versus Wagner. Yeah, there's a whole list of this here. Now, what this means is, well, and I'm going to keep this open, because what this means is when we have judges and prosecutors and cops who've been caught, and you'll see later on in what case, because I'm going to play that in another video, where they've been caught fabricating evidence and tampering with evidence and everything, it means that they have no legitimate authority. It means that I can and am as me. I'm nobody. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. I'm me. I'm a 5'4" shit-talking smartass. That's it. That's me. I'm an asshole. But being an asshole, according to the Supreme Court of West Virginia, I have the authority to tell the police, the magistrate, the judges, the prosecutor, fuck off. Because they have overstepped their bounds and been involved in multiple abuses of power and have usurped their own authority by those abuses of power. Don't blame me. Blame the Supreme Court. They put it in the code books. I just read the shit. Sorry. Oh. So, what we have here is a very interesting situation. Very, very interesting situation. And that little usurpation of power actually falls under West Virginia Code 53-1-1. Yep. Section 2. So, what we have here is a very, very interesting situation. And the funny thing about this is, it's not that I can do it. It's not that me alone, I'm the great hero come to save the day. Fuck that shit. It's the fact that anyone can do it. You just have to have the knowledge. And you can get the knowledge anywhere on yourself, but it starts with you deciding that you aren't going to leave it up to some other asshole who thinks he's superior to you because he has a piece of paper. He went to school, wasted 8 years of his life to read a fucking book that you can get from the public library and read your damn self. That's it. So, you really don't need some external source to grant you authority. You don't need some external power to tell you you're whatever. You don't need someone trying to tell you you need some external source of power to elevate yourself to the status of being able to take care of you. You simply have to be willing to get up and take care of you. That's why I'm a prepper survivalist. That's why I'm a martial artist. Because I didn't become a martial artist because it made me a badass. No, in fact, most martial artists can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. The fact of the matter is, I studied martial arts because I wanted to be able to defend myself, to take care of myself, and not have to be reliant on someone else, some external source of power, such as a weapon or a knife. Here I have, yeah, this is a crappy, cheap $1 knife at Walmart. Now, this crappy little knife, if you take this away from me, if my power relies on having a weapon and you take this away from me and I have just my hands, sorry. The fact of the matter is, a lot of martial arts can't really fight. That whole thing about my hands are registered as lethal weapons. Let me tell you how that works. Some asshole decided that I have a black belt in karate, but I don't want to fight somebody. So, at a certain point, when someone wanted to bow up and fight him and challenge him to a fight, he says, well, I have to inform you I'm a black belt in karate. That way I don't go to jail, so you understand my hands are registered as lethal weapons, and if I hurt you, it's your own fault. You still want to fight? That way, ooh, I'm scary, bullshit. The reality is they don't actually register your hands as lethal weapons. That's complete and utter bullshit. It's not to say you can't kill a person with your bare hands. It happens. Even in boxing, it happens. People take too big of a hit to the head and they die. On the street, you can slip in a fucking puddle of water and fall and hit your head on the asphalt and die. So you can imagine how bad it is when somebody picks you up and scoop slams you on that same asphalt. Or when somebody's on top of you beating you and your head bounces off the pavement. The fact of the matter is, shit happens. You don't need some special glorified certificate saying I'm a badass or some multicolored belt saying I'm a badass. All it takes is your willingness to learn, to train. And if you can't afford a school or you can't find someone who actually teach you, you can actually train yourself. That's the big secret of martial arts. If you show up to a dojo for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a week, most classes don't run past an hour anyway, and you show up for 3 hours a week, you think that's going to make you a badass? No. You think you're going to learn something? No. Because you're going to have to be in a constant state of training to learn. Think about that. Alright, there you go. The reason why I can pretty much do whatever is because I simply choose to. There's the big secret. I made a choice. That's it. If I can do it, anyone else can do it. So the question is, why aren't you doing it too?